My original plan for today was to make a 30-minute video complaining or explaining why Spider-Man 3 wasn't as bad as everyone perceives it and blah blah blah, but then Far From Home came out, and then I figured I'd just review that. Far From Home, in a nutshell, is a great way to continue the MCU Spider-Man trilogy. That's it. I figured since I'm probably going to be reviewing more Spider-Man movies in the future, I'd just make a checklist and formalize each of those videos. So here are the components to what I think makes a good Spider-Man movie. The action, characters, drama, villain, and ending. They're all pretty major things in those movies, so I'll just be using that formula from now onwards when reviewing these type of movies. So without further ado, it goes without saying that Spider-Man isn't really Spider-Man without at least some decent action, or action at all, to be honest. Go dig up any Spider-Man comics of any kind, and I guarantee you that 10 pages at least have Spider-Man kicking some dude off a plane or doing something cool. With that being said, I am happy to say that, yeah, it's decent. Of course, it's not Sam Raimi good, but it is decent. I was heavily entertained and satisfied with the action. It was flashy, it was quick, it was clean, it was a little above the bar when it comes to action in comic book movies. I can't really put my finger down on my favorite action scene. Like, they were all alright, but nothing necessarily stood out. I guess the scene when Peter runs out of webs on his web shooter and has to use the environment to beat Mysterio's drones, that really got to showcase like how smart Peter was. The fight scene with Molten Man, that was pretty good, generally speaking. Overall, everything was just good, so leave me alone. Next category. As always, Peter Parker is the best character. One of my worries before watching the movie was that Peter would become somewhat unlikable, like after Homecoming, which nailed the character of Peter so well. I kind of thought they'd spill the beans a bit with this one, but I was actually very happy to see that Peter is just as likable and realistic as he was in Homecoming, so that's good. Honestly, most of the actors do a pretty good job. Zendaya actually did decently, well, considering her roots on fucking Disney XD and shit. JB Smoove, which I will never pronounce that name ever again, was actually really funny. They actually gave Ned the perfect amount of screen time, which was another fear I had after Lego Movie 2 and Toy Story 4, movies that completely disregarded fan favorite characters. I was worried that they go on the same route with Far From Home, but actually everyone gets the right amount of screen time. Hell, I'd even say some characters even got more screen time compared to Homecoming. Roger Harrington, Betty Brant, and Flash Thompson, just to name a few. Coming out of Endgame, yeah, must have been hella easy to make the drama for this movie. Yeah, Tony Stark is dead, but they actually do a bit of Mysterio, who actually fucks with Peter's head a shit ton. Like, that illusion scene was some crazy shit. And the scene where Peter sees Happy Hogan directly after the illusion sequence, and Peter's like screaming at him to make sure he himself is in a production, is some pretty deep shit, and I gotta hand it to Tom Holland, who nailed those scenes pretty well. Before I utterly geek out, I'm gonna share a little fun fact about myself. Mysterio is my all-time favorite Spider-Man villain. Like, my favorite Spider-Man issue, period, is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 13, Mysterio's first appearance. So when I say they nailed Mysterio almost perfectly, I mean it. They really did do my boy good. My only real problem with Mysterio is that the entire thing is fake. Like, let me explain. Quentin just wears a motion capture suit the whole time, and I sorta like the idea of Quentin Beck just wearing a dumb homemade fishbowl costume as he casts illusions by himself and shit. Like, that stuff's really appealing and funny. Honestly, if Beck was a one-man team, just one guy who got pissed at Tony Stark and wanted to take a fat shit all over his legacy, I think he could have been one of the best Spider-Man villains on screen. But if I'm being honest, how Far From Home represents Mysterio, he was pretty well done. Holy shit, like, Jesus. The ending, or more so the mid-credits scene, literally had me spazzing in my chair in the theater. And that, not just me, everyone else in the theater was also spazzing in their chair. Like, holy shit, J.K. Simmons comes back as J. Jonah Jameson? And, like, Peter's identity literally gets leaked? Like, oh, what the fuck was that shit? One dumbass thing, though, was the whole scroll thing, like, coming from J. Jonah Jameson to Nick Fury and Maria Hill being Skrulls is sort of disappointing. Like, I see that as someone reading the last draft for Far From Home and pointing out, why is Nick Fury so dumb? And director John Watts being like, because he's a Skrull? Oh, I do like how both credit scenes basically set up two different movies. Like, obviously, the J. Jonah Jameson one sets up Spider-Man 3, and the Nick Fury one sets up Captain Marvel 2. But the JJJ credit scene is by far easily the best mid-credit scene in any MCU movie, period. I think it's no question to see that Far From Home is now one of my favorite Spider-Man/MCU films. The question is it better than Homecoming? And my answer is no. Like I said in the beginning, Homecoming and Far From Home are basically on the same level. What's really setting them apart, however, are the villains. Both villains are fine, but when they tried pulling the Mysterio twist on us, did anyone really not see it coming? When Vulture got revealed as Liz's guy, literally everyone was surprised. They took the Vulture character and sort of molded him to fit the twist perfectly. He wasn't a surprise villain, no, we already knew. He was just there to set another stone for Peter to cross. Like, now that Peter knows who Vulture is, he has a choice of doing what is right or spending the night with his crush and getting what he's wanted. But he does the right thing. That really establishes how much Peter has grown and tells the audience what Peter's morals are. Mysterio is good, but Vulture is better. But in serious conclusion, Far From Home is a nice continuation for the Spider-Man MCU trilogy, and it leaves us wondering, how the hell are they gonna do 3? 8.50 out of 10, it's pretty good.